Now we had a very close look at the whole middleware thing. Let's now understand how we can actually work with incoming requests and how we can extract data. And for that, I again want to be able to handle a post request. So let's say on add product here, I want to actually return an HTML page with a form. For that, I'll again return a form. And just as a side note, this of course is a bit of an incomplete HTML document. We should also wrap this in HTML and body and so on tags. I'm keeping this shorter here to make it easier to read, but later we will also write proper HTML code, no worries. So I have my form here, and in there I'll have my input of type title of type text here with a name of title, let's say. And I'll add a button again, and that button will be of type submit because it should submit this form and send a post request therefore. And I'll simply give it a caption of add product. So let's simulate that this is a form that allows us to add a product to our own online shop or something like that. Now this is our form here, and the form needs an action. So the path, the URL to which the request should be sent. And let's name this product. And the method should be post, let's say. Can also be written like this. So this will send a HTML code back, which holds a form. And now we need a route or a middleware that handles requests to product. So we can add app use /product. Now, the important part here is we can place that prior or after this middleware. They won't clash because they have nothing in common regarding the path. They have product in common, but /add-product is different to /product. It just has to come before this one because otherwise this would execute prior to that. So this position here looks all right. And then we again have our function which receives these 3 arguments. As a side note, you can, of course, omit an argument you're not planning to use, at least the third one. You can't omit the first one if you want the response, because the order does matter. But if you never use the third one, you can omit it. But I always add it here to make it clear that it exists. So now with that, we have this function which will execute for product. And in there, I want to redirect. And for now, I want to log the incoming data to the console. Now, what we can do here is for redirecting, I can use response redirect, which certainly is easier than manually setting the status code and setting the location header. So redirect is another convenience function added by Express. And here I can redirect to, let's say, just slash. So it will automatically redirect me to the / route. But of course, this is not the only thing. I'm also interested in getting the body of my incoming request, so extracting what the user sent me. And for this, Express.js now has a convenience feature for us. If I console log request body here, this is a new field added by Express, and let's see what's in there. So if I now save this, we should be able to go back to /add product and hopefully see an input field. And let's add a book here and hit add product. We're redirected to /. This is working. And in the console, we see undefined. And let's get rid of the other console logs so that this is less clouded with logs. We can also remove that. So we see undefined. The reason is that we're almost there. Request gives us this body convenience property here. But by default, request doesn't try to parse the incoming request body. To do that, we need to register a parser. And we do that by adding another middleware. And you typically do that before your route handling middlewares, because the parsing of the body should be done no matter where your request ends up. And there, I want to parse the incoming request body. Now for that, we can install a third-party package. And we do that by running npm install --save, because this will also be a package that is used in our code here that does matter for production. So just save, not save dev. And the name is body parser. Now, this would actually be included in Express by default because the community wanted that again. It was in the past, then it was removed, then it was re-added. I will use that third-party package, which is the recommended way of using it, because if they ever decide to pull it out of Express again, this code I'm teaching you will still work. So now we installed a new package, the body parser, and we can import that here. I'll store it in a body parser constant. The name, as always, is up to you. And the package is named body-parser. And now we can use it here by calling body parser, so using that object, and then dot URL encoded. This is a function you have to execute, and you can pass options to configure it, but you don't have to here. And now what this does is it registers a middleware. So this function in the end just yields us such a middleware function. So this passes such a function here in the end, even though we can't see it. And this package will in the end, in this middleware function, call next in the end, so that the request also reaches our middleware. But before it does that, it will do that whole request body parsing we had to do manually in the previous course sections. Now this will not parse all kinds of possible bodies, files, JSON, and so on, but this will parse bodies like the one we're getting here, sent through a form. If we have other bodies like files, and we'll do that also in this course, we'll use different parsers. And this makes Express.js so extensible. If we need something, we can just plug it in. You see how easy that is. It's one line of code. Well, two if you count the import in. Now with that, we should actually get an output for this console log statement. So now let's restart the server. By the way, if you install a new package, you need to restart. You can't rely on the auto restart from NodeMon. And we should configure one thing as I'm getting warned here. You should pass the config options here and set extended to false. This is if it should be able to parse non-default features, you could say. So let's add this to comply with what we should use here. And with that, we get the body parser enabled. Now let's try this again, and let's go back to add product, and let's add our book again. Add product, we're redirected, and now we see this is what we get. A JavaScript object with a key value pair, which also makes extracting that value easier than we had to do before with the split function, where we manually had to create that array and so on. Now we get an object where we simply get the key we defined in our input here, so this name, and then the value the user entered. And this is definitely simpler than our custom approach we used before. And now we can work with all the data our users yield us, store them in a database, something we'll do later, show them in the response, whatever we need to do. Now, one thing of course is missing. This right now would also execute for an incoming GET request. Well, we only want to listen to a POST request. So what can we do regarding that?